The lovely introduction. It's really exciting times to be in the product space, and I see there's a lot of folks here who've joined. So happy to spend some time answering your questions. I do have a few slides, but we don't have to use slides. It's really more of me spending some time with each one of you. It's a small group, so I can take everybody's individual questions and share some perspectives, share some insights on how we hire. Um, both in the US but also in India. What do we anticipate the future of product management, product leadership, product design, product marketing, product operations type of roles, especially in the context of AI? How is that changing? How do you prepare yourself, right? So variety of topics, but whatever is on your mind is most important, right? So feel free to fire away. I'll show the slides as and when we need it, but honestly, this is our time together, so let's make the most out of it. And so happy to jump into questions. Whoever wants to go, I guess raise your hands, or Herlene, if you can help, um, monitor or moderate who goes next. Feel free to jump into asking your question.
Okay, I think the best way to go about this would be if everyone, people raise their hands and we can go one by one. So, or like whoever wants to go first, right? Like, please feel free to unmute yourself and
It's a shy audience, looks like.
um, shall I share the deck? If
I mean,
you know,
I can share the deck, but I was hoping that if there's specific things that people have in mind, that's more important for me to address. If not, I can certainly share a few slides, but I do not want to bore you all with PowerPoints. I'd rather get into the more important things on your mind. You clearly are here, so you must have had some reason to be here, and so ask your question. I guess is a better way. You don't have to be on video. We will not judge you. Although it'll be great to have all of you on video because that way it's a face with the name. But don't worry if you're doing your Swiggy or your Netflix in parallel, that's absolutely fine.
Yeah, I too
Hi.
have. Yeah,
okay, we have our first
Go ahead.
people. Kumar,
Go ahead.
go ahead.
yeah. So yeah, basically, I'm I have around 13 years of experience, and none of my experience is in product management. So it's basically most of my experience in the QA role. But now I really want to get switch into product role, like product manager role or something, that kind of stuff. So how do you think, after 13 years of experience, what kind of, things I should be equipped with, equip myself, to get into that role, or what are things I should be, looking forward to learn and, so that I can make a transition in that role. Or what is expectation of the if somebody is
Yeah,
wanted to hire the product manager, what kind of expectation do they have from the
yeah,
candidates?
yeah. Great question. Great question. And I'll probably now show you some visual slides which will be easier for you to understand the details, right? Let me give you the kind of simple answer and a high level answer. And I'm going to show you a slide which will give you prescriptive guidance on what to do next. The short answer is absolutely. 10 plus years of experienced professionals from project management, from business analysis, from engineering management, from QA, sales and marketing move into product roles all the time. This is a very, very predictable path. It has been done thousands of times in the past. So, if your question is that possible? Absolutely. And it has been done hundreds and thousands of times, right? So it's absolutely possible. Now, the second part of your question is, what are the skill sets that we expect what we call a full stack product manager to have? And so I'm gonna share my screen now, and hopefully that gives a little bit of context as well as the answer to that question, right? So first, it's important to understand when we use the word product management, it's a skill. It's not a title, right? So first thing I want to kind of make sure all of us on the call digest this is that driving is a skill. That doesn't mean I have to become an Uber driver, right? So there's a skill and there's a title. Product management as a skill is very, very crucial, even for engineers, even for sales and marketing, even for project managers. Why? Because in order for you to move up in a senior leadership role, you will actually require the same context that every product management person should have, right? Which is the customer context, the business context, the innovation context. So keep that in mind. When I use the word product management, it's not just title, you know, but it's a skill, which means a director of engineering who wants to become a VP of engineering actually needs the same skill, which is the customer context, the business context, the innovation context, right? Which is what the product management skill set talks about. So keeping that in mind, if you now look at the first principles definition, what is product management, right? Before we say how we get there, I think it's important to also clarify in our mind with a structured understanding or simple definition of what is product management, right? And so product management is a set of skills. It's the art and science of identifying market opportunities, which means you need to know what is even worth building a product around, right? Why should we build it? Who's the audience? Is there a need for another product, right? So identify the market opportunity and then drive a team. By the way, in the AI first world, that team is shrinking as well. So you could be just a team of two as opposed to a team of 200. But you're driving a cross-functional team to then develop a very compelling, a very competitive, and a very profitable product. And these are important words. Compelling means while there are other products in the market, why should they choose yours, right? What's the most compelling reason why people are dying to buy your product? How do you engineer that? How do you find that value proposition? How do you find the right hook? So all of that analysis, all of that experience design is very important, right? And then competitive, right? At the end of the day, people have alternatives. And when I say competition, it's not just competitors, it's also the alternatives that people have. And so competitive and profitable. Profitable because at the end of the day, it's a hobby project. If you're building a product that people are loving, using, but you're not making money, right? Or there's no path to make money. And so it has to be profitable at some point, even if it's not short term, right? And so how do you now develop a compelling, competitive, and a profitable product that actually delivers delight? Because delight is the most important moment of truth for a customer to come back and reuse your product. Otherwise, it's a one-time thing, right? And delight can happen through proof of value, time to value, brand recall. There's multiple ways of measuring delight. So that's the definition of product management, right? The art and science to have about 25 different skill sets that I'm going to show you so that you develop those skills so that you can develop the art and science, master the art and science of developing, a compelling product. So now that we understand product management, maybe it's an important thing to answer your third part of your question, Kumar, which is, what do we look for? And so what we look for is really 25 different competencies that a full stack product manager should have. And that's kind of grouped up in this nice little simple visual. And feel free to download this chart or ask the Institute's team. They'll probably give you a copy of that because it's very important for you to understand the competencies that are necessary for you to develop. Now, you may not have all 25 competencies day one. That's okay. But you want to have as many as you can from this chart to improve your hireability, right? To improve your own competitiveness on why somebody should pick you versus the other person. And these are five groups that, as you can see, right? So you look at market analysis. We talked a little bit about this. Who's the customer? Why should they buy? What's the competitive analysis look like? What's the performance analysis looks like, right? Why should you choose to build something? That's answering the fundamental question before you build the product. Why? Right? So that's market analysis skills. The second is strategic planning skills. How are we going to make money? What's the business plan look like? It's good that you found an idea and it's good that customers are loving it, but are we going to have 10 such customers who are loving it or 10,000 or 10 million? At the end of the day, you need to start driving the size of the market sizing, as we call product strategy, road mapping, right? Long-term road mapping, things like that. The third is your product planning. A lot of product managers in India specifically are skilled at this one area, which is good and bad. It's a great start, but not enough. So a lot of people call themselves product owners, if you've heard of this title, Scrum Masters, technical product managers. These are popular titles, but they really only focus on maybe one or two things, right? Writing user stories in Agile, or developing personas and scenarios, right? For QA. And so all of that is your product planning, which is building the product the right way, the right time, with the right quality. So if you look at the shades of blue, all three, generally we call them inbound product manager. You look at shades of red, we call them outbound product manager, right? So if I kind of bring up the different types of careers, you have product owner, which is the technical product manager. You have the inbound product management, which is all the shades of blue. And then you have outbound product management, which is really product marketing. A lot of people also call them product marketing, which is you build the product. Now, how are you going to acquire customers at scale? How are you going to price it, package it, message it, brand it, customer acquisition, lead generation, sales channel, direct, indirect, B2B, B2C, right? There's a lot of nuances on how you take the product to the market. And so that skills, is in the shades of red. And so then finally you kind of have what we call a product leader. That means you learn all these skills and you choose not to become entitle a product manager, but you leverage these skills to become an SVP of support, a vice president of engineering, a director of uh, uh, sales. And so you leverage the product management skills to move up. And that's also in the product industry, a very important role called product leader, right? So hopefully this gives you a little bit of a detailed context, Kumar, in terms of what is product management, what are the different roles, how we look for, and hence, what is your prescriptive path now to be able to move into that product management, is to be able to skill yourself in these 25 competencies. Does that make sense, Kumar?
Yeah, so just one more question. So when we talk about outbound product management, right? So marketing. So like since I don't have any kind of business knowledge, or I'm not from any kind of business background. So marketing is something it's totally unaware of those things. So it's like little bit of how a person from IT background is going to learn the marketing strategies and all those stuff.
I'll tell you my own example. I am a hardcore engineer. My bachelor's and master's are in computer science from Purdue, and I accidentally moved into product management in my first 5 years of working as an engineer. And then about 9 years later, I accidentally moved into product marketing. And so as a chief marketing officer, now, hundreds of marketeers work on my team in a publicly traded company. And I'm not unique, Kumar. If you look at a lot of marketeers in Silicon Valley, a lot of them come from engineering background, come from technical background. So this is a myth that you somehow have to learn and go, do these business courses and MBAs. It's great if you have an MBA, but it's not a necessity for you to move into marketing, right? So at the end of the day, product marketing, which is a much smaller subset of the broad marketing, right? So when we say broad marketing, we're talking brand marketing, we're talking about, field events and activation marketing, we're talking about media relations, right? And there's a lot of things in marketing. What I'm talking about is product marketing, which means how do you connect the value proposition and communicate that value proposition of what you've built to the customer in the most simplest sense, so that they fall in love and say, oh yeah, that's the problem that I have, and thank you for sharing, because that's exactly what I need. That building that connection is something that product marketers do very well, and it's very, very learnable. Everybody can learn it, don't worry. Doesn't matter whether you're from the IT field or non-IT field, whether you're an engineer or non-engineer, it's absolutely no prerequisites. for you to kind of learn the outbound product management skills.
Got it. Yeah.
Yeah,
I have a
awesome.
question.
I think Paras had raised his hand, so let's go to Paras and then maybe we'll come to you, Anurag.
Okay. Yeah, hi. Am I audible?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Yeah. So I have got some questions. Like I'll start with that. Currently, I am not having any like work experience. I'm just trying to start my career. I have recently finished my graduation and I have done a couple of internships in product management and done a couple of projects in product management. Apart from that, I don't have like anything relevant to product management. So I want to ask that how do I, start into a full-time role? Because like I have experienced this myself that wherever I apply, ultimately they ask for a, experience that I don't have to start into the product management. Furthermore, there are like tons and tons of people applying for the entry level roles as well, and that makes it more difficult for me. Also, like there are two main things like B2C and B2B, and I figure out that to showcase my experience, I need to build projects, right? And what are the differences in projects when it comes to B2B and when it comes to B2C? And what should I focus, to get into product management? Because I don't have a professional experience. So that's my question.
That's not a problem at all, Paras. I think a lot of people who start fresh in their career, in fact, there are now specialized MBAs. MBA in technology management is one such program that I know, which has a very, very strong acceptance in the industry. As a hiring manager, I plan to hire from some programs like that, which are freshers, right? Very, very 0 to 2 years of experience, starting from no experience to let's say 1 or 2, like the early stage of careers. Take a look at programs like that. I think the key thing is very simple. Programs or no programs, at the end of the day, you need two things, right? First, you need to be able to build the skills. You can build those skills by reading books. You can build those skills using Coursera and Udemy and online courses. You can, and YouTube, right? It doesn't matter how you do it. You need to build the skills that we just talked about. And second important thing, which is even more important than the first one, is that once you have the skills, once you've learned those how to do certain things, you have to now apply that in a particular project. And these projects doesn't have to be at work. Since you're not at work, since you're not working, you can pick a project of anything of your choice. Like for example, one of the things that Harleen mentioned, the program, the International Certificate Program in Product Management, that program particularly has a very, very dedicated product labs section. Every month, you're supposed to do a capstone project. So what does that mean? You learn user experience design as a module, as a skill, and at the end of that third week, you're now supposed to implement and build a real prototype, a real user experience of a particular situation. Now, one of the product labs presentations that I saw that participants had put together was how do I do a checkout, an efficient checkout of biryani on Swiggy? How can I design the user experience, applying all of my UX principles that I've learned into designing a faster, more seamless, more experience-rich checkout of biryani at Swiggy? And guess what? The vice president of Swiggy, vice president of user experience and products at Swiggy, was actually commenting on why this is an amazing opportunity and idea because they have roughly about 4 crores of biryanis, what we call in cart abandonment, right? So I think everybody knows what cart abandonment is, right? In plain English, you add to the cart, after searching all the dosa and the biryani, you add to the cart, and then you don't check out because you got distracted, you changed your mind. If you look at the amount of money left in that cart that somebody did not check out, it's roughly 3.5 to 4 crores, for Swiggy. So that's a big problem. If you had an efficient checkout process where you would have nudged the customer to go finish the transaction, even if it's half of that 3 crores, you just saved 1.5 crores by building a better user experience design in that product. That is the project that you need to go build, Paras. And you don't need permissions from Swiggy. You can build the experience of what a bullet train ticketing system should look like. You can build, the experience of redesigning how LinkedIn should look like. It's up to you. If you build the skills, you can apply that and create what we call demonstrable skills. And demonstrable skills are a lot more important than resume. In fact, resume based hiring is dead. Let me repeat one more time for dramatic effect. And most hiring managers will tell you around the world, resume based hiring is dead. Why? Because everybody's resume looks great. And thanks to AI, a lot of these tools, they kind of help you do what we call keyword stuffing, which means all the best keywords are in your resume. So I can't differentiate between Paras, who's a good skilled person, versus a non-Paras who's also got a great resume but doesn't have the skills. Hard to differentiate. So we really don't look at resume as much. Have a resume. I'm not saying don't have a resume, but build your portfolio of skills, a demonstrable portfolio of projects. So that's the two steps, Paras, for you. Build the skills and then build the demonstration of those skills using portfolio projects. And now when you submit that to your hiring manager, now you have a chance of getting cracking that interview, right? Because you're showing me proof of what you're capable of. That's mapped to the role that I'm hiring for. If you just show up with resume, not enough. Does that make sense, Paras?
Uh, yeah, it makes sense, and thanks for the help. The second part was like difference in the B2B and B2C projects. Like, are there any more significant differences?
No, not really. I mean, at the end of the day, you and your passion and what you like, right? I mean, you look at B2B products like Salesforce or Gong. One of my favorite products is Gong these days. They do amazing job in building the same user experience, but for B2B users, right? So the principles don't change. Product management is the art and science and the skills that we talked about, right? So that this 25 skill sets that we talked about doesn't really change whether you're building a B2B product or whether you're building a B2C product. So it's really a function of what you enjoy more and what kind of companies do you really want to work for. Some people have a preference to work for Yahoo and Google and consumer oriented companies. Some people like to work for Cisco and Schneider and GE and in the B2B space. It's a personal preference. Product management, no difference. The skill sets that you need is uniformly equal in both areas. Yeah,
Yeah, thanks for the help.
super. Okay, who's next? Looks like it's pretty lonely. I don't see anybody on video. So, hey, look, this is an
I think
interactive session. So,
I think Anurag had unmuted
yes, go
themselves.
ahead, Anurag.
Yeah, hello. So I know similar kind of question was already asked as a first question in this webinar, but I just want to phrase it in a different way so that it could be a better fitted as per my experience. So yes, I am also having 10 years of experience in the business analyst role, and my first question is it like what is the main difference between consultant and product manager? Because since last like half an hour what I learned, they are actually selling a product, or they are designing a product which is feasible for an organization, for a person, or like for a larger group, larger scale of people. Same thing, what consultant does is they are also doing the same thing. The only difference what I can say is consultant basically have a particular domain. Consultant have a particular software kind of things. So my first question is how product manager is different than the consultant. And second question is if I'm planning to move into the product management role, what could be the roadmap for me, keeping this in mind that I have 10 year of experience in the business analysis role. What could be the best
Yeah,
out, out of all these 40 50 terms which was there on the slide? What could be the best thing I can go on the basis of my 10 years of experience?
Yeah, when you say 40, 50, I don't know what you're talking about. The 25 skills you're referring to here, right?
Right. Sorry,
Yeah,
25.
yeah, okay, got it. So let's kind of bring this up again. The short answer is that a management consultant or a strategy consultant, as we call them in many companies, they have different titles, but basically a management consultant is somebody who will have similar skills to what you see in this grid, in this circle, compared to a product manager, except that their job is very, very heavily centered around this, right? And a little bit of this. They do not get into the execution. A management consultant will advise and then move on to the next client to again give them the advice. You're not operationally involved in delivering all the way through what you just described, because that takes time. That's a lot of work to do with your teams to make sure that you're actually executing, and then it's validating the assumptions that you made. You thought you're going to make this product, and the product is going to be a hit, and you're going to have 50,000 customers in the first year. Turns out that you didn't get even 10 customers in the first hit. Now you have to tweak, you have to change something, you have to kind of modify in your assumptions and again go back, isn't it? That process of iteration to get it right is what something that the product manager sees through the entire journey of the product lifecycle management. The consultants stop at the first part. So that's the big difference between the two, right? Um, Now, in your second part of the question is, as a business analyst, what would you, as a business analyst, you probably have a good sense for some of the blue sections of this grid, especially if you have 10 plus years of experience, you're actually a very, very good candidate to transform yourself into what we call an inbound product manager, right? So I would say inbound product management should be your first destination in terms of how you shoot for from a career perspective, which is the shades of blue that you see here. Not to say that the shades of red are not important, but if you want to stage yourself, right, you want to kind of build your skills in packets, if you will. The outbound can happen later. First, focus on the inbound and get a role as a product manager, as a senior product manager, as a group product manager, in these companies who will absolutely get you and love to have you once you have the necessary skills in the shades of blue. So that would be my recommendation. Step two of your career should be start building the red portion so that you become a full stack product manager, not just an inbound, but also the outbound, right? And so inbound plus outbound, is essentially your competitiveness, your need in the market, obviously goes higher, right? And your seniority, getting to director level roles, senior director, VP level roles becomes easier when you have a full stack skill set, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, thanks a lot for this. Just have a follow-up question on this. So, sorry, I missed out something.
That's
Actually,
okay.
I
Once
forgot
you
about
once it comes to your
question.
mind, you can come back again.
Yeah, sure thing. Just
Yeah,
give me some time. Thank
sure.
you.
Um, we have a couple of questions in the chat.
Uh-huh.
We have Shreyas who has asked, what are the most important tech skills right now in PM and the level of expertise required? I think it's like the flip side of the previous question.
Yeah,
In
look, when we say tech skills, and maybe I want to show you a chart on kind of what's happening right now in the industry, right? So if you look at product management, but if you also look at the kind of 2.0 version of product management, if you will, right? So I wanna maybe show you this one slide first, and then I'll jump into the more details. I thought I had a slide that clarifies. There you go. Right. So if you look at something like this, what is in the AI first world, the world that we're going to live in for the next 5 to 7 years, especially, how does this change things for people? And the context of tech becomes very important, right? Because what level of tech are we talking about? So first thing I want to make sure is that the emerging area where product managers are moving very rapidly into a career growth, like every 6 months there's a promotion going on in product management. And we can't find enough people, by the way. And salaries are going through the roof. Last time I had to make an offer, it was about 1.2 crore for somebody who had 5 years of experience, which was not the case a few years ago. That would have been 60, 70 lakhs, right? And our junior product manager starts off with 26 lakhs, 28 lakhs, right? In India, I'm talking about the context in India. So why is there so much demand and why is there so much scarcity at the same time? Is because a lot of the AI transformation that's happening is allowing product managers to kind of become higher valued in the organization. So if we were to kind of, give you a simple equation of what 2.0 looks like, it's the core PM skills, the 25 skills that we talked about, that I showed you in the diagram earlier, augmented with AI. And I'm going to show you what augmented with AI means. Plus, we're now wanting our product leaders, especially those who move into group and director level PMs, senior director, VP level roles. We want to make sure that they have leadership skills. And I'll show you a chart on what that leadership skills looks like, or a lot of people call them soft skills, right? I don't like soft skills, I like leadership skills, but I'm just using this equation that everybody uses in the industry. And third is the technical fluency, the question that I think you asked, which is even more important in the AI world than ever before. And together that package, if you can now become a 2.0 version of the PM, you are absolutely high in demand. You are absolutely, going to be chased by hundreds of hiring managers, because there's just not enough of 2.0 version of PMs in the space, right? So now if you break this down, we talked about the core PM skills, right? And we talked about the context, from customer context to business context to leadership context to innovation context, right? And things like that. But if you now look at the soft skills side, here's the typical stack that we expect our product leaders, our product managers to have. And all of this is only amplified with AI. Why? Because AI, while can automate a lot of things, the human creativity, the human leadership skills of communication, of executive presence, of curiosity, of storytelling is still very, very important, till the AI becomes completely what we call AGI, right? In the very future. Until then, humans still have a very important role to play, and that's the area where we feel product leaders need to step up. How do I influence people who don't report to me? Right? Think of this as the word managing is completely changing in the new world. The word manager in the old days was managing people, right? I mean, think about the industrial age. It was about factory workers and operational things. And that's why the word manager, 50 years ago, was all until about 5, 7 years ago, was all about managing people. In today's world, a manager is not just a managing people person. In fact, most people don't want to manage people. Most leaders are saying, I want to only manage process, and moving to now managing growth, managing products, managing innovation. So the word manager is not about number of people that you report to you. It's the number of projects that you are managing, the number of business units that you're managing, the volume of revenue that you're actually managing. And in the future, in the very near future, we're now going to have to know how to manage AI agents, because AI agents are becoming a natural thing now. And pretty soon, in the next 5 years, next 3 years, you're going to see a variety of what I call digital avatars. So here's a project manager, but here's an AI version of the project manager who's going to do 80% of the work that a typical junior project manager would do. How do you now orchestrate and manage that is going to be the new definition of management, right? So soft skills amplified by AI is the next important thing. And then coming back to technical fluency, this is a stack. You're not expected to know everything, but you are expected to know, starting from the top, how does generative AI work? Right? Chat GPT, prompt engineering are basics. You have to know these things to be able to become efficient with your pursuit of research, pursuit of getting answers, pursuit of researching the competition, right, and things like that. So generative AI, plays a very, very important role. Prompt engineering, I think, plays a very, very important role. As you go down the stack, let me kind of bring this out fully. As you go down the stack, you may start developing deeper and deeper and deeper based on where you're comfortable. Now, if you come from an engineering background, you probably want to go all the way to model evaluation and machine learning and Python. If you're not a tech person or you don't like tech, you don't need to. You can stop right here at the data analytics level. You can, start from the top and go as deep as you possibly can. But it's not necessary for you to know everything. The more you know, obviously, the more valuable you become, right? It's obvious. But this is how I would kind of map out the technical fluency that we do want our modern product managers, our 2.0 version of the product managers to have. And if you have that, you're in high demand. Does that make sense? Did I answer your question?
That was in the chat from Shreyas. He said yes.
Okay, perfect.
Great.
Okay, who's next?
I think Shilpi had raised their hand. If unless they don't want to ask their question
Hi,
anymore.
Venkatesh.
Hey.
So I wanted to know what kind of tools we'd be learning in this program.
When you say this program, you'll have to give me a little bit more details. Which program are we referring to?
Project management.
Project management. I don't know which project management program. I don't. As a faculty, I don't teach. So I'm more of a Silicon Valley practitioner who teaches at the institute. Maybe you should talk to the institute team to figure out the different types of programs and. But the international certification product management program, if that's what you're referring to, not the project, but the product management program, you will learn all the necessary skills that you see here in this stack. Right? So if you look at the specific modules, I think there are 5 modules in 5 months, or there's an 11th month version where there are 11 modules. And by the way, every single one of those modules, whether it's user experience design, whether it's market analysis and value proposition design, whether it is product lifecycle and agile, whether it's product marketing, all of them will now have case studies and examples, but also projects because AI has been infused in each part of that curriculum. So there's a dedicated AI module as well for those of you who are interested in going advanced, kind of the 2.0 version that I mentioned. But if you're not interested in AI, at least the basics of all product management skills will be covered in that 5-month international certification program in product management. Is that the one that you were referring to?
Yes, correct. I got it. Thank you.
And spend some time on with the institute's folks, and they'll probably have a better. I am not fully equipped with all the dates, and I am more as a faculty. I come, I teach, and I leave. Right, as a mentor, as a coach, I'm not involved in the operational side of the institute.
Okay, I'll talk to them, but I got my
Yeah,
point. Thank you.
yeah.
I'll also drop a link in the chat where you can book an appointment with a career counselor and kind of get more understanding about the different courses.
Looks like there's some questions I see on the chat. Abhishek is saying, is there a 3-month program? Yes, I think there is a associate product management program, which is really most important 3 modules as a subset of the 5-month program, right? So think of this as what I like about the program and the way it's structured. It's very similar to what ISB, which is a very good business school in India as well. It's very similar to what UC Berkeley does in the US. And I teach at all these places. I teach at IIM, I teach at all these places. What I like about the structure is that each skill is one module. So it's 1 month, one skill, one module. And so now 5-month program is nothing but a stack of 5 modules. 3-month program is nothing but a stack of the same 3 modules, but a subset of the 5-month, right? 11-month program is nothing but 11 modules. So really you can choose which one is the best for you in terms of your stacking, whether it's the 3 versus 5 versus 11, right? But spend some time, Abhishek. I'm sure with the institute's folks, they can tell you the difference. But the website is pretty clear. I think if you go down to the 3-month program, it'll tell you which 3 modules, and it's the same 3 plus another 2, which makes up the 5-month program. And that 5-month program plus another 6 modules make up the 11-month program, right? So it's very modular in that nature. Paras had a question. What is the difference between project manager and product manager? Big difference. Project managers are more tactical execution. Product managers are more strategic decision-making role plus execution, right? So product managers go beyond just tactical execution. Somebody tells me what to do, I go do it. That's project management. Product management is somebody tells me to do, but I also have my own thoughts and I have my own business plans and I have my own reasons on why we should not do this, but we should do this instead. So that decision-making capability as a business leader is something that product manager exercises. A lot of project managers become product managers for the same reason, right? Because they want to gonna go out of this tactical, dependency mapping, project management, meeting, scheduling type of work to more strategic decision-making roles in the organization, right? So a lot of project managers eventually move into product managers or systematically want to skill themselves to kind of move up, right? So hopefully that gives you an understanding, Paras, on the difference, right, between the two. Somebody gave me a very nice analogy, so maybe I'll reuse that person's analogy. He said, "Look, you want to start a new train from Bangalore to Chennai, and the decision to start that train from Bangalore to Chennai, how many compartments it should have, what should be the pricing of that ticket, what time of the day it should start, all of that decision making is product management. Once the train starts, to make sure that the train runs on time is project management. So maybe that analogy gives you a little bit more in terms of the nuance between the two. Yeah. Shilpi had a question. Shilpi, are you still here? If you want to unmute and ask that question.
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you. Looks like we can't.
Hi, sir. Actually, due to some network issues, I was not able to hear what you had said earlier. Maybe my question might be repeated again. But what I had as a question is that what are the various sectors or industries where the role of a product manager is present? Like, to be specific, in case of IT, what are the specific sectors? In case of non-IT, what are the specific sectors? Secondly, I am someone 3 years in IT with a UG degree. So, what are the necessary prerequisites for me to become product manager in this case?
I could understand most of it. You were kind of cutting out a little bit in and out, but I understood most of your most of your question. So there is no prerequisite. Anybody can really become a product manager as long as you have the sense, as long as you have the passion that I want to move into a decision-making role, right? Remember, go back to our first slide and first definition of what is product management, right? If this sentence excites you, if this role and the outcome of what they do excites you, you can become a product manager. There is no prerequisite. We have people who come from so I teach very actively. I fly down to India and I teach at the campus for some of the programs. They have an executive MBA program that they run, which is a weekend program in the campus in Bangalore, and I teach there every time I'm visiting India. And I had a Air Force pilot in my class. We've seen people from there was a dietitian, from Mumbai who was in the class in one of the years. More recently, there was a doctor, a gastroenterologist. And so, and I asked them question that, look, hey, you're a doctor, why are you in this program? And his answer is very clear. I want to build a medical device as a product, which today India imports from Israel and from US, and it's very, very expensive. I know how to build it. I'm a medical professional. I know I'm a doctor. I know how to build it. What I don't know is how to productize that idea. And so the journey of going from building the prototype, validating it with the customer, doing the customer research, pricing, packaging, messaging, branding, the whole life cycle that we talked about earlier is something you need skills for. Even though you're a domain expert, you might be a financial, accountant, you might be a dietitian, you might be a sales and marketing professional, you might be a doctor. That's great that you have the domain understanding, but you may want to, that's not enough for you to go build a successful product. So product management is a art and science, like the slide says, but anybody can learn, and there is no prerequisite. You could be a fresher, you could be a 10 plus years experience, 20 plus experience, 20 plus years experienced person, doesn't really matter. So hopefully that gives you a sense. I think the second part of your question, from what I could hear, is that how should you start about it? My recommendation is start with the inbound product management first, then build the outbound, and that way you kind of start doing that. Or you may say, look, no, I want to do the full thing. Um, well, then I would say do the full thing, including the leadership skills. So there's really three kinds of skills, right? As we talked about, there's the inbound skills, the outbound skills, and then the leadership skills, the art of storytelling skills, the ability for you to influence people, the ability to negotiate, the ability to do conflict management. These are very, very crucial skills, especially when you move into corporate world as you want to get promoted faster. You need these leadership skills, and they're not common sense. A lot of people think, oh, negotiation is easy. I grew up in India, so I go to the bazaar. Somebody tells me that the cost of this slipper is 100 rupees. I negotiate, I start with 10, and somewhere in the middle, we settle. Yes, that certainly is a novice way of doing negotiations, but negotiations have five different styles, and what we call techniques. You need to learn them. They're not common sense. They're not intuitive, right? And so there's a lot of leadership skills that you should also think about building.
Thank you, sir. And just one question that, I had asked earlier, like, what are the various sectors or industries where, uh, like, I can apply for this position, like, for in IT and non-IT?
Any industry, everybody is hiring, right? GE is hiring. They need product managers to build turbines. Caterpillar is hiring. They need product managers to create these new crane machines, which are connected with weather data for farmers. Microsoft is hiring because they need products. They need to build software products. Hindustan Unilever is hiring, because they want to build the next packaged water bottle. So Patanjali is hiring because they want a brand manager or a product manager to create the next Ayurvedic product, right? So a product manager, e-commerce is hiring, right? Everybody is hiring because at the end of the day, they need people to kind of make good decisions. It's the making good decisions and ultimately delivering customer delight so that the business can grow. And that's a very unique set of skill set that is not general purpose, right? You just don't need a salesperson. A salesperson can only sell. A developer can only develop. You need somebody who has a cross-functional understanding of the entire business. And that is what product management is all about, right? So every industry is hiring, is the short answer. It's your choice and what you're passionate about.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Mhm. Shreyans looks like had a question, unless there's somebody else who wants to go live. No? Okay. So I'm going to pick up one from.
We have Abhishek who's raised his hand.
Okay, go ahead, Abhishek.
Yeah, hi, Pikesh. Thank you for such a great session. A lot of learning.
Good. Happy to help.
Yeah, so I'm sorry if it sounds a little repetitive, but I have also a career transition thing, but I'm little concerned about moving into a new career. Basically, because being a middle level professional, transitioning into a new career comes with its own challenges. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, how it would pan out, and what kind of uh, you know the I mean, the uh, like start from scratch or like get into a senior role. So if I start as a product manager, how will I be taken in the you know career?
I'm trying to understand the question, Abhishek. So what is your question? Your question is how do I move into more senior roles from where you are? Is that your
Yeah,
question? Or
yeah. So
yeah,
that
I
is
mean,
actually basically I come from a sales and marketing background with
yeah.
almost like 13 years of experience, and I want to move into product management role. I like that specific domain, but I'm little skeptical because after spending so much time in this domain, moving into a new career role comes with own challenges, like what kind of compensation and like do I need to do some sacrifice, all that.
Look, and anytime you make a change, it's always a quote unquote nervous moment, right?
Yes.
Whether you go from sales to product management or engineering to marketing or going from product management to becoming a chef at Marriott. I know somebody whose passion was to cook and he trained himself and became a chef at Marriott. Every time you learn something and you're trying to make a transition, it's always a slightly nervous moment. That is very natural, that is very normal, and you should not worry about that. That's very, very normal. Everybody goes through that, right? Um, the
Sure.
good news, the good news is that going from sales, which is a great career role in some sense, in my personal opinion, that role is shrinking, by the way, right? Most people are going to find bots who are going to sell, and there's going to be digitally automated. So the routine sales process is going to go away and get automated with AI. We're already seeing AI sales agents out there. If you've not seen, take a look at 11x, take a look at Jasper, take a look at AI SDR. If you do a Google search, you'll find 25 companies who are now creating sales agents. They will actually call on behalf of sales. They will send an email, which is hyper personalized on behalf of sale. 80% of the work is actually done through agents now, right? AI agents. So in my opinion, sales as a role is shrinking. That doesn't mean everybody is going to be out of a job, but you're not going to have so much growth, and you don't need so many salespeople now. You can do the job of 10 salespeople with two, and plus AI, right? So in my opinion, you should make the transition from going from sales to product management. The good news is that you're leveraging a lot of your skills, your leadership skills, your customer facing skills, your ability to communicate value skills into product management naturally. Wherever there's a gap, you learn the rest of it, but you can easily transition into a product management role. And by the way, product management roles are handsomely paid, so I don't think you should worry about money. Not to say that sales is not handsomely paid, but on an average, product managers are probably paid at least 50 to 80% more, apples to apples, compared to a salesperson. So you're going to see a tremendous amount of um growth financially as well, in product roles, in product management roles, compared to sales.
Sure. Thank you. And the other question is that does the institute also provide placement supports? Like, I mean, if we move into a new role, like, how
Yeah,
are we going to get hired? Like,
hundreds of hiring managers come to the campus. I know I go to the campus all the time to hire when I need it. But 100 plus companies came last year. And so that's like every 2 weeks there's somebody at the campus hiring. So I don't think you'll have a problem of, quote unquote finding a job, in the sense that forget the people who are coming to the campus. There are hundreds of postings going unfilled right now on LinkedIn. Just go search a product management job and you'll find like thousands of them, listed. The trick here is not about scarcity of jobs. You don't have to worry about that. The trick is, are you going to equip yourself with demonstrable skills that stands and makes you apart from all these other people who are just submitting resume? Right? Everybody else is saying, I did this degree from here, I did this certification from there, I have this piece of paper. All that is useless. Let me be very blunt. All that is useless. You need to join a program, if at all you're going to join a program that truly helps you build skills. Because just getting a certificate from, UC Berkeley or IIM or ISB or one of these reputed places means absolutely nothing, right? Certificates are certificates. In a product management role, we don't care about which degree you have. We care about show me and demonstrate to me that you have the necessary skills with proof. That's why we need the portfolio. So the reason I like the Institute of Leadership, Product Leadership programs because they're more focused. Yes, you get a certificate. Yes, there is an executive MBA degree. Yes, there is a full-time MBA in technology management with guaranteed 2 internships which are paid. All that is true. But the outcome is your skill profile and the ability for you to demonstrate that skill through project-based learning, through product labs-based learning, through faculty and coach-driven learning as opposed to here's some online videos, go, good luck, and take a test at the end. Right? I see a lot of weekend programs, CSPO, CSM, PMP. Nothing wrong with these certifications. I'm saying take it if you have the money and the time. But just because you attended a 2 day workshop and answered a bunch of multiple choice questions, you get a little nice little chapa that you hang on the wall. That is not skilling. That is just knowledge. That is just theory, right? And that is not enough. So I have a very direct and blunt advice for you. Don't run behind certifications, quote unquote. If you get a certificate, great. But the real value is your faculty-driven, coach-driven, project-driven learning experience that allows you to really prove that you are ready for that role, and that will get you multiple interviews cracked and multiple opportunities for you. So you can absolutely do this.
Sure. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
Mhm.
Now, Pinkesh,
Okay.
sorry, I know we are running out of time. Just a quick question. We talked in this total webinar. We talk about two things in the product management. One is the product manager, and another is the AI product manager. So, first thing, how AI, like you already covered it. We have some kind of AI companionship along with the product management, so that this is my understanding, this is what AI product manager is. But my question is, and I came up with a recent example as well, as we have mentioned, for the sales job, it is being scrapped now, and bots are being created by the organizations to scrap the most of the sales profiles. Similarly, Zomato just now laid off 600 of their customer service employees just because they have AI chatbots, which is taking care 80% of their query. So, if I'm going to take this opportunity to go through this program to skill myself into the way that I could be a good product manager, like if I can build a product, or if I can, let's suppose what Zomato did with the 600 employees, that particular product was also built by any a kind of a set of product managers, or a single product manager. And if they can
Yeah, no,
ex-
no, I got your question. So let me let me ask you a very simple question, right? I mean, you're essentially saying, look, AI is disrupting all roles. What's going to happen to PM? And if I move
yeah,
into PM just to find out that I am out of a job, what's the point, right? I got it. And this is a
train
very
the AI to do the jobs what PMs are doing.
Yeah, yeah. So look, two things I will bring to your attention, right? A lot of repetitive, non-creative, non-decision making, formula-driven jobs are getting replaced. Product management is not a formula-driven job, right? If you go back to our first line, the art and science, there is science, but there's a lot of art, there's a lot of intuition. So that's the first thing. Second thing is think about who made the decision at these companies at Zomato. So let's say you mentioned that
Mhm.
Zomato and Swiggy are now laying off some 60 people or 600 people, whatever that number is, right, in customer service. Who made that decision?
It's the
You want to
market
become, yeah,
management one.
yeah, but you want to become that person, not the
Hmm.
person doing customer service, isn't it? So the decision-making model of who decides and how you decide is exactly what product management is all about. Have you heard that somebody laid off 50 product managers thanks to AI? No. In fact, they
Amazon
hired.
Amazon did 13,000 layoffs this year only. But yeah, that is not exactly only the product manager. That is basically all the manager levels, which includes
Very
35
different.
percentage of the
Very
product managers as well globally.
different. Yes and no. I mean, these product managers are entitled product managers, but they're really project managers. I'm telling
Maybe.
you, the need for product management is all-time high and is going to remain high for the same reason because it's a cognitive role, not a mechanical role. Things that can be automated, of course, the companies are going to find efficiency and optimize. And by the way, we're saying that product managers who are doing nothing but project management, but they're called product management, they're in danger. I agree with you. And that's why what I'm saying is that you need to get to PM 2.0, which is which is
Yeah,
what which is what I which is what my advice is to everybody in this world, that you need to get here as fast as you possibly can. Oops, where is the yeah, this one.
exactly. I agree with you on this part.
Now, 10 years from now, you may say, is there a guarantee that there is no AI that will replace PM? No, there is no guarantee. But for the next 10 years, I'm telling you, there's tremendous amount of innovation necessary by augmenting and infusing AI in every aspect of your decision, right? And this is why, if you look at this chart, this is actually a brilliant chart, right? If you look at these four, areas, if you will, of envisioning AI products, only a product manager can do, right? Think about everything from self-driving cars to exciting things that you see. That's a product management working with engineering to deliver something that is amazing. There is not a project manager sitting with an engineering to deliver something amazing. There is not a salesperson sitting, right? And so you have to start thinking about how do you leverage AI in your existing products. That's the second area of, understanding the nuances. How do you accelerate the life cycle of what you're building right now, right? AI-based project management. Monday.com is a good example. They're
Yeah,
replacing project managers left and right. Why? Because the AI model is doing 80% of the work. So it's not that we don't need project managers, but we don't need 200 of them. We can get done with 20, right? And so you have to start thinking about this, that AI is disrupting every role. There is no question, including product managers. But you have to look at the other side. You want to be in the decision-making side of the equation, not the victim. And product management allows you to do that. That's why I'm saying that you don't have to worry about that news in product management, because you are the one creating the news. You are the reason who's looking at the profit and loss and saying, hey, why do I need so many salespeople? As a product manager, you are the reason, quote unquote, why some of these hiring and firing is happening, right? Because you're the one who's running the business.
exactly. Thank you so
Yeah,
much for.
yeah, yeah.
So,
Yeah, go ahead, Shilpi.
so just had a question. Like a few minutes ago, you had said that certifications alone won't be working. Like they can be a helping hand. Then, I mean, what about like when we are applying for PM jobs? What would be that one thing that would make the recruiter catch the attention towards my resume? What would be that one thing in my resume that would be different from other people? Like there would be hundreds and thousands of people applying for a PM role. So I
Yeah, we
mean,
talked we talked about this earlier. That's the answer. In your resume, you need to have a link to your portfolio, which I click on and see the actual work that you've done, projects that you've done, right? This is what we talked about earlier. Maybe you were not on the call earlier, right? In my opinion, resume-based hiring is dead. Now, I'm not saying don't have a resume. You should have a resume. I'm not saying that you should get rid of a resume, but resume alone does not cut it for the reason you just explained. Everybody has the amazing keywords in their resume. Everybody seems to have all kinds of differentiation, including some certifications, some degrees. So degrees and certifications help. Reputable degrees and reputable certifications will help you kind of differentiate, but that's only 5 or 10 extra points out of 100. The other 85 points are going to be based on your portfolio. So don't tell me what you don't show me the certificate. Show me in that certificate program what projects did you work on every month? What artifacts have you created every month in every skill? and show me evidence of that. The moment you show me that, I am now excited because I now have proof. Think about this. I'll give you a very simple example that's easier to understand in a common sense way, right? So let's say, Shilpi, you're hiring a photographer. You
Mhm.
have a very important family event coming up, right? Let's say there's an anniversary in the house, or you have your birthday party coming up, right? Important moment coming up in your life, and you need to find a photographer. And I show up as one of the candidates to be hired for this job, for this photography, for this one evening that you need. And I come to you and say, I have IIT Kharagpur gold medalist. Will you hire me?
No, I would be seeing the work
That's it. You just answered
samples.
it, right? It's good. You will probably give me some respect because I'm IIT Kharagpur gold medalist, but that doesn't
Mhm.
mean you're gonna hire me. The next question you're gonna ask me is, Pinkesh, can you show me examples of pictures that you've taken in some other birthday party?
Mhm.
That's the portfolio. And if I can't show you that, it's unlikely that you're going to find, that I'm going to get a job with you, or that you're going to hire me compared to somebody else who has no certificate, no degree, didn't even graduate from 12th class, but has amazing portfolio of pictures, right? You'll probably, assuming both of us are the same price, you'll probably go with that person, right? And so same thing here. You need to build, and that's why I like programs which are experiential in nature. I don't know if you've heard of this word. I don't know if all of you on the call have heard this word, but this is very, very important. I wish I knew when I was in my earlier days of career, right? Experiential learning means you're learning by doing as opposed to learning by listening. Most of our education programs, especially in India, for many years and even today, are focused on the second one, learning by listening. You go to a class, you sit down and take notes, you listen to this lecture, and hopefully you remember as much as you can. Nothing wrong with it, but that's not effective in roles like product management, in business roles, in CEO roles. You need to do learning by listening. And hence you're, so this product labs component of the program is what I really refer to as experiential learning. You're actually building stuff, right? You're applying stuff, and that allows you to make a portfolio. In our analogy, Shilpi, you may say, but what if I have not taken any birthday party pictures before? Let's say I'm fresh, I'm new,
Mhm.
completely a fresher, so I have no experience of uh, of the work industry. In this
Mhm.
example of our photography, if you ask me, hey, can you show me some pictures? What should I do next? Well, I should go to the nearest park, right? If I'm in Bangalore, I'll go to Cubbon Park. You go to the nearest park, click some pictures. It doesn't have to be a birthday party, a paid birthday party from the past. At least now you can show that, look, in low lights, in highlights, in morning times, in evening times, in my night shots. Here's an example of the different types of pictures I can click. And here's the proof of that. That itself is useful, even though it is not a real picture at a real birthday party in a real work experience in the past. Does that make sense, Shilpi?
Yes, sir. So, like you said, that if we put a link over there, so what are the chances like the recruiter would be clicking that link and seeing my portfolio, like my samples of work?
It's the only thing that they care for, is what I'm trying to explain to you. Don't worry too much. Once you have a portfolio, you'll be chased by people. And by the way, link in a resume is not the only way to show your portfolio, right? I mean, in the world of LinkedIn, everybody can become Chetan Bhagat, and become a writer.
Yeah.
I mean, why not? Go to LinkedIn, post your, portfolio, or at least one at a time, create 5 posts, tag everybody in the world who you want to get attention. Forget the HR, forget the recruiter, HR person.
Hmm.
You want to go talk directly and connect directly with the hiring manager. So you can tag Barack Obama, you can tag Narendra Modi. You don't have to be connected to them, right? On LinkedIn. If you really want to. So there are ways to do this, right? And by the way, the career assistant platform, I think that somebody asked earlier, there are career workshops that you will go through outside of the curriculum and outside of the skills and the classes. You also have the optional career assistant platform where you're now going to be groomed on how to build your portfolio, how to present your portfolio, how to amplify and publish your brand, how do you build your personal brand? Very, very important. In fact, best jobs never come through an HR submission. Best jobs come through networking. Best jobs come through your portfolio of display. Best jobs come through your own personal brand building. So, don't my personal advice is don't even bother submitting resumes in these Monster and Naukri.com and wherever else that you might be doing this. Thousands of things go through this. HR persons are clueless in most cases, right? And so
Right.
you may never get the call if you just go in this mad rush. You want to stand out. And
Hmm.
there are many ways of
Correct.
doing that. Many ways of doing that.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Just a quick question, Mukesh. So, when we have the GitHub and other open source platforms where we can, as a repository, where we can save our work, projects. So, do we have any kind of such open source repository for the project management as well?
I mean, it's
Sorry.
called the website. It's you create your own, anurag.me,
Mm-hmm.
anurag.com, whatever. Pick a domain, pick a $5 website, and there are AI tools which will do it for free. So build your portfolio and display it there. And now that becomes your personal brand. So yeah, that is the way. By the way, LinkedIn now has
Mm-hmm.
the newest feature of LinkedIn. I don't know if you've noticed. You can actually go and there's a link that says add portfolio.
Exactly. It is there.
What we've been saying now for 10 years, LinkedIn is now catching up. Remember, this is the endorsement of what I've been saying and what I just mentioned to you guys, right? So
Mhm.
LinkedIn now recognizes that the best way to get hired is to actually display your portfolio. So you can actually go and do add portfolio, put a link, and that's it. Now you're going to get noticed because it's a field, noticeable field that people can search on LinkedIn.
Got it. Thank you for it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Super. Any other questions? I know we're getting late, but I hope this was useful, and I hope this is helping answer the specific questions you look. I have lots of slides. The point is not about slides. The point is about answering the specific question you have, so you can start making good decisions about your career growth.
So, are we getting this
yeah,
slide so that we can have a look, at least for those 25 methodologies?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll share this with the team at the IPL, and then they can give a copy of that to you guys. No
Yeah,
problem.
we'll also
hello,
be
Mukesh.
sharing a recording of this session so they can go through it as well then,
Thank you so much. That will work out.
of course.
Yeah, am I audible, Mukesh?
Awesome. Okay. Time to wrap up, or
I think Shreyas
one last
wants to
question,
ask the
Harleen?
question. Yeah.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
hello. I have two questions. One is that, like, I have already posted that if I'm focusing on more on the work from home job setting, so should I switch from data industry to product, or should I remain in data only?
I mean, look, the data industry is great, but to me, a data scientist versus a data analyst are two very different things. If you're just a data analyst, and if you're not a machine learning, algorithmic coding developer, which is doing deep machine learning, just data analyst in on its own, in my opinion, is a little risky for the next few years. You may want to move into product role and leverage your data analysis skills as a data product manager. By the way, that's a very new, it's like we have this inbound product manager, outbound product manager. The next big thing is the AI product manager, right? Or data product manager. And so you will become a fantastic product manager with differentiation of data that maybe other product managers don't have this DNA, don't have this skill set, right? So you'll become very, very differentiated.
Okay, so basically, along with the data, like AI has now been introduced. So I've been working on agentic models and chatbots based on AI.
Very
So
nice.
that's something like these jobs focus more on work from home setting. Like 40% of the jobs are work from home only. So that's
Yes.
what I'm preferring more. Like work from home is more is something that matters more than getting into product management or data industry. So I just want
Well,
to get an idea, like
yeah.
product management is work from home or
Absolutely. Well, I can't say every company is going to have product management work from home, but you have a lot more flexibility on your own time. The way you manage your time is very different. In engineering, you have to show up. I mean, you have to be at X number of people because it's a team sport. In product management, you're like the mini CEO. So you decide. Today you're going to be visiting customers, and tomorrow you're going to be working from wherever you are working from home, and third day you're going to have a meeting with. So you are in control because you are the decision maker, right? Is the difference here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Um,
got it.
that doesn't mean I'm saying that every company is going to say, oh, no, 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 you're a product manager, so you're special, so you work from home. That's not what I'm saying. But
Mm.
you are not measured on time. Your
Okay.
outcome, you're going to be, your growth is measured on the outcome that you generate, not the amount of hours that you put in your work.
Okay. Yeah, I got it.
Very,
And
very important, right?
yeah.
So keep this in mind. Now, there was another, by the way, while I'm answering that question for you, there was somebody, I think Suvarna, I don't know if she's still here or not, but she said, look, I've got a baby, and so I'm looking for work-life balance, and is it possible for me to get it with the product management role? And the answer is, I mean, of course, yes, right? I mean, because of the same phenomenon, Suvarna, the fact that you are in control of your time, you are the decision maker within certain context, within certain extent, right? You balance your work and balance your life as much as you want. By the way, it can go the other way around as well. It depends on your passion. As a product manager, my wife will tell you, I don't have work-life balance because I love what I do. And so I end up spending 60 hours every week, 50 hours every week, as opposed to normal 40. But that's my choice. My boss is not asking me to do that. As a product manager, I have liberty, but I love what I'm doing. I love solving, complicated problems. I love building new business growths. And my growth, my own personal growth is high because of that, right? So you kind of go from your levels and say, are you going to take 5 years to become a director, or are you going to do it in 3? That's a choice that you have. In the product management space, you have that choice, right? So keep that perspective as well, Suvarna. If you want to manage that work-life balance because of a new baby, or new or a particular home condition, taking care of parents, right? I've seen lots of product managers, female product managers, male product managers, who balance their time the way they want to. Very, very doable. Very, very, very possible in the product role. Sorry, Shreyansh, you had a follow-up question.
Yeah, this product management role is somewhat closer to management consulting, is it?
I think we answered that question
Uh,
earlier, maybe when
okay, I
somebody was
missed
asked,
it, I
right?
think.
So that's
Okay.
okay. The product management role starts with consulting role, but goes beyond consulting to execute that. So a consulting role is really, here's my advice. So let me give a real example. Recently, Flipkart paid a couple crores, without giving you the exact number, to engage with a consulting agency to tell them and guide them and advise them on whether Flipkart should sell houses online. Yeah, it's a big market, right? A big opportunity. Instead of selling 500 rupee t-shirts, what if I can start selling low end 30-40 lakh houses, or on
Yeah.
the upper end 1 crore, 2 crore houses online, right? Completely 3D immersive way of looking at add to cart, EMIs, I mean everything sorted out. The consultants came in, created the full picture. They probably paid lots of crores for that money to get their advice, and then they gave it to the product managers, and product managers realized that, okay, this is a great idea, but let's execute. They started executing. In 6 months they realized, no, people are not ready to buy houses online. The operational approach of getting some things done is what product managers are tasked with. Consultant is just one piece, the starting piece of that entire life cycle. Consultants don't stay till to execute anything. They give advice and they
Mm.
disappear. So
Yeah.
those are the two different nuances between the two, Shreyansh.
Yeah, understood. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Okay. Well, hopefully this was useful, and wish you all the very best. Again, my advice is, if you're thinking about building your career, and whether it's product management or product marketing or product design, or even in your own zone, engineering support, right? Start taking concrete actions to build skills. Doing nothing is not an option. And sometimes I see, having last 8, 9 years since I've been mentoring specifically in India, I see a lot of people who I meet again 2 years later saying, "Oh, I wish I had done this before. I wish I had taken that advice." And so my advice is that don't get into that regret mode later. Start building your skills. Whether it's the inbound alone or just the inbound and outbound, you choose. But get started in the journey is very, very important, right? As opposed to just kind of paralysis by analysis, which is what a lot of people fall into. Right. So hopefully that was useful, and I wish you all the very best.